And yeah, and we are we yes. Give me this. Yes, we are live. Good evening, YouTube, and I hope everyone is well. 7 o'clock on a Wednesday evening, and as you can see to my left or my right, I've got a very special guest, Kenny Ken. How are you, sir? And thank you very much for coming on my channel.
No, it's my pleasure, mate.
Yeah,
it's been a good week. We kind of scrapped for our win on Saturday, but it's one of those things where with the games coming thick and fast, especially December and January being congestion months for matches. In fact, even February's going to be congested with fixtures as well. You just have to, you're not going to play well, but you are going to have to find a way to win. At the moment, it was our fullbacks who won us the game on this. It was, yeah.
So for Newcastle, yeah,
our fullbacks. So there's still like a few concerns regarding our attack. Biggest elephant in the room is something I think we're going to get to later.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And I don't know about you, but halfway through, I was falling asleep in that game. You were at the game, right?
Yeah, definitely at the game. I think what it was is that it was Eddie Howe's first game because obviously he missed the game last week against Brentford because of COVID issues. So he came to the game, and I thought Newcastle did what I thought they were going to do. They put men behind the ball. So I think because Arteta knew they were going to put men behind the ball and be more compact. I suppose that's why he brought on Odegaard to kind of unlock the door. So poor old Lacazette missed out. But in the first half, it was like that. Aubameyang should have scored. It's not even a debate.
What's happened to Aubameyang? What's happened to him? He's just fallen off a cliff.
I don't know. What happens at some players, right? They peak at certain different times in their career, and they fall off in terms of like their sell-by date at certain times of career. So, for instance, some players, right, are still going to be doing it if they adjust their game, like Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. But Oba, what we associate Oba with is his finishing and his pace. But unfortunately, with Oba, he plays his best football when Lacazette's in the side because Lacazette, brings play, takes defenders out of the comfort zone, and it leaves space for Oba to run into. Because Oba likes playing that shoulder, he likes to sneak in the box. But this season,
totally agree, mate. But you're not an Odegaard fan, are you either?
Well, to a certain extent,
maybe I'm.
No, I think to a certain extent, I have to say, I was lukewarm about his signing because I didn't study the guy, but I looked at what's happening in Real Madrid and I was thinking, well, they set him on loads of loans. He could do it in the Premiership, but I was thinking that in terms of what we needed at Arsenal, we needed a little bit more than what Odegaard can give us. We need more goals, and we need him to see if we can unlock the door. I think what he does is he does try to slow the game down, at its pace, and sometimes it's not always possible. But one thing, he doesn't do, which Ozil did, although Ozil, I was critical of him as well. There's not enough forward passes with Odegaard. But one thing, bless Ozil, despite the fact I was very critical of his performances, he always looked to get the ball forward, and he always looked to link the play. So at least, and that's something that Martin doesn't do enough for me.
I agree, mate. I haven't seen anything from Odegaard apart from that free kick against Burnley. I mean, what's he done this season? He just goes sideways, backwards.
But that's his game. That's his game.
Yeah, and it's just so predictable. Like it's Lacazette. I'd rather have Lacazette in the team as well because Lacazette and Aubameyang, that relationship is key, I think.
Well, if Lacazette if we think Lacazette is going to sign a pre-contract with another club, be it Barcelona, let's just try and see if we can get the best out of him. Or what we do is that we just go shopping in January because the biggest elephant in the room is now is that there's still things we need to do. Obviously, a striker we need to get pronto this January, and obviously we need to get someone in midfield as well. So a creative spark. Although people say, well, you've got Odegaard. At the moment, it's not working for me. And we're now in a situation where, we're in the mix. Some people may say it by default, but we're in the mix. And I think that what's going to cancel at the end of the season is going to be our goals for column. And I just think that, our goals for column is concerning.
Is it? I didn't look at it. Is it 0 or minus still? Have we
No,
gone into
it's
plus?
-2. We're
I
-2.
think we're
Arsenal
still. Are we
-2.
-2?
Yeah, Arsenal -2. So basically, what's
That
happening
is
is that if you take away,
yeah, and
yeah,
apparently, yeah. Oh, exactly. Go. Yeah.
well, you look at the catastrophes. The
Yeah.
catastrophes were
Go
the
on,
first
mate.
3 games, and then the other catastrophe is
Yeah.
Liverpool. So that's the goal against, and we
Yeah.
have in between that we've had a few clean sheets. So in the defence is improved, midfield needs a bit of work, but in terms of off the ball, they're very good. But I think Mikel will be concerned with the lack of productivity from his from the last third of the pitch for the attackers. I know Smith Rowe has got the old goal here and there. You know what I mean?
He talk about Smith Rowe. I don't know if you saw the comment in his press conference about Saka. I couldn't quite believe that. He's got to learn to something player through injury. I mean, did I hear that right?
I'm not really, because I think managers are like
just,
that. Managers do like that.
What?
Klopp was like that about Daniel Sturridge. He's saying does he know anything about real pain?
Yeah.
And over the years, since I've been watching football, and that's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Players have.
I
know. Played with injury. Like they get before it was the cornerstone injection. Now it's something else that I'm sure it's legal, but that's what you want. In this running, what Arteta's saying to the Arsenal public and to the footballing public as well is that Saka is my main man in terms of me trying to win football matches, because last season it was obvious that he saw Saka as the player who could set up our attacks, and he was a player that we're going to win games through. And he clearly feels that this season, hence the fact that, he wants Saka to beat the pain barrier.
Right. And then talking about Saka, but what about Pepe? Like, Pepe's going to be going to the AFCON and he just can't get a game. I mean, that infuriates me, because he was our second most creative player last season. And I'm a big Pepe fan. I don't know about you, but maybe you're not. I'm not sure what your opinion is of what's your opinion of Pepe?
Well, the thing with Pepe is that, I think you're right to say that, because I think, it's obvious to me.
Yeah,
maybe not to other people.
Are you a Pepe fan or?
Well, one thing I will say is that Pepe is the most naturally gifted player we have in a team, in terms of natural footballing ability, and that you would have thought in his third year you would be expecting a lot of goals, because he'll be getting into those kind of positions, because he's that kind of player. He's got that much ability. But I think his career at Arsenal has always been kind of stop-start. And I think one of the reasons why it's stop-start is it's because of the emergence of Saka and Smith Rowe in those kind of positions. So Pepe has to have a good... When Pepe plays, he has to score. He has to, create a lot of chances. And if he doesn't, then, he's droppable. And I think that's the problem is that, I'll say it once, say it 1,000 times, it's quite extraordinary that we got a forward line worth nearly about £180 million, and that our dear coach can't get the best out of them, which I find, quite concerning.
Yeah. And that minus goal difference just sits in my head, because Pepe and Martinelli, for me, I would start them every. I like that Martinelli. It's that goal on Saturday, mate. I've watched it. If you tell me about that goal, I don't know, but it was just beautiful.
Well, you know what it was.
The technique and Arteta's face.
It was bravery. It was a bravery. It was a bravery, because the ball came over the top. Not when it's coming into the goalkeeper's area. Dubravka, his feet are wrong. So what's happening, right? Even if his feet is wrong, it's his area, because he could have smashed Martinelli, but he didn't. He was too slow. Martinelli was really quick, but it's the way he let the ball come over his shoulder, and he was able to guide it in the net. It was a very, very good goal. And it's something. If anyone needed a goal, it was him, because I think he's another one who's like Pepe-like, in terms of the fact that he doesn't seem to be able to get a game under this guy. Again, I think that he's seen as like the understudy to Aubameyang, and that because although there's rumours that Arteta was trying to turn him into forward, I don't believe it for 1 minute, because if I think that he sees Martinelli as a Aubameyang light, and that's why it's only if Aubameyang's injured, seriously injured, that we will see Martinelli in the team.
Yeah,
I don't think we see them together.
Now Saka's injured. I think is
Mm.
well. Do you think he'll play tomorrow? Do you think it'll be a Martinelli or a Saka? I mean, what's your opinion?
I think that it's more likely to be Pepe playing for the balance of the side. Yeah. In fact, I'll be stunned if Martinelli plays in his place. I'm fully expecting it to be Pepe.
Okay.
Because I think it'd be more like for like, as opposed to what Mikel might think he's disrupting the balance of the team if he plays Aubameyang and Martinelli in the same side. So I do think that in terms of like for like, Pepe is more likely to play if Saka says he's not ready or he fails the fitness test.
So could I ask, what would your lineup be for tomorrow if you were on the sidelines, Kenny? What would you?
Well, in goal, I think that in goal it's Ramsdale. Right back is Tomiyasu. Left back is that's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you were going to say Tierney, but Tavares just played out his skin, so it's got to be Tavares. And then
apart from the last week, wasn't
so
against Liverpool.
It wasn't a good game, was it? Another thing as well. Give Kieran Tierney enough time to get himself properly fit. Don't rush him back. Yeah. So Tavares is doing a whale of a job, and he should be playing. And then centre halves are going to be Gabriel and Ben White. Midfield is going to be. I know it's going to be like Albert and alongside Partey, and I think that it'd be Pepe. And I do think that it'll be like Odegaard, Smith Rowe, and Aubameyang. Personally, I don't think he should play. But
I can't stand it. Play. I can't stand Odegaard.
I think that he'll go like that. He'll go with that kind of way, because I think what's happening is that he may think that in terms of playing against Man United, just keep the ball away from them, try and keep some sort of possession, and try and dominate the possession that way. And he thinks that maybe Odegaard could do that, like little 1-2s, little passes, hold the ball up, pass it, not necessarily forward, but just pass it around around the midfield. I think that's probably what he wants to do. He wants to try and frustrate the Old Trafford crowd, because at the end of the day, Man United, one of the things Man United don't do, which is that they don't press enough. If they are going to press,
they're inconsistent with their press.
Yeah, but I think if they are going to press, it's debatable whether they could do that like for 90 minutes, which means they're going to have to win the game pretty early on, i.e. take the game away from us. If they don't, then it's going to be a long time where extra fitness could count for us and get Man United.
Talking about Man United, even though their new boss isn't there, do you think they're going to try harder against us? Do you think you're going to see I don't know. Are you scared for tomorrow? Are you worried?
Oh yeah, definitely, because Man United have got one of the best teams in the country. On paper, in terms of don't get me wrong, they bought some good, excellent individuals. They haven't really bought a team, and that's probably what's frustrating Man United fans is that they haven't bought a proper spine. But Harry Maguire's going to be back, so they've got his best striker back. I don't know what's happening for Varane, but he's come back, and then you've got the, one of the things is that Wan-Bissaka. I think if anyone needs a good coach, I think this new coach Rangnick could be the making of Wan-Bissaka. If he does what I think he'll do, I think Wan-Bissaka will be knocking on that door for Gareth Southgate. So if anyone needs Rangnick, it's Wan-Bissaka. Luke Shaw's another one where they want to. They've basically seen what they've done with. They've seen what Liverpool do with their fullbacks in terms of like Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. So they want. It's the buzzword is play like that, because what's happening is that you can support your strikers, get service into strikers.
Because I personally think he'll come in and he'll just elevate them up the table, because they've got quality players all over the pitch.
Well, that's why no one should ever write them off. People write them off at their peril. Last season they were written off. They finished second.
I agree.
Season before that they were written off. They're one of those people who will go on a run. They got goals in that team. For Ronaldo speaks for itself. Greenwood can score goals. Cavani will score goals. Fernandes will score goals. So all that team needs really is balance. And I think that's the situation.
And this, I don't know. I was looking at some of his, his team talks, and he just looks like he doesn't. He just looks like he doesn't take any shit. Pardon my language. He just looks like he doesn't care who you are. He's going to come in there, and they're not going to stay where they are. Man United.
I think what helps Rangnick as well.
Yeah,
I know there's been people very negative towards him because the fact that he hasn't won as much as the other players. But the fact is that in terms of what Man United needs, he's they're talking about the press, the gegenpress. Personally, I think gegenpress has been with us a lot longer than Rangnick started. But if they want to say that he invented it, crack on. But one thing is with him is that the players will take to him because there's recommendations from people like Tuchel, Champions League winner, with Chelsea, Klopp, Premiership title winner and Champions League winner with Liverpool. So they've endorsed him in it. So the players will take stock and would take to him.
I think that kind of leads me on to obviously if you look at these quality managers and you look at our manager, I don't know if I'm not. It's coming up to 2 years of Arteta and. Yes. I still struggle. Let's talk about him. I still struggle to see, number one, how do we play? What's our style of play? What's his plan B? What's his plan C? I mean, what's your opinion of the man in the
first and foremost, Mikel's broken the first rule of management. The first thing you do, right, is that you find a way to try and win games. It's like the buzzwords around Newcastle yesterday was that Eddie Howe has this kind of way of playing. He's going to evolve. He wants to play passing, attacking football. But Newcastle need wins. And I think that's what Mikel needed to do at Arsenal, especially last season. Yeah. We find a way to win games. And then what's happened is that when you get results, then gradually, you can modify the way we play. At the moment, there isn't a desirable style of play. But I think what's happened is as soon as we win games, the people come out of the woodwork, from other podcasts.
I'm not like that.
Yeah,
I'm not like
I think
that,
they start. Yeah, good mate. But they'll start. Like if they're not taking pot shots at people like myself, they're inventing some sort of tactical plan that we haven't seen before, which is quite ridiculous and ludicrous as well. But that's how they back Arteta. They're going to back Arteta no matter what.
You know what flabbergasts me the most, mate, is what's the love, the whole for this guy who was an average player for us.
Played for Arsenal.
And
he played for Arsenal. I'll tell you what the love for him.
Go on.
I'll tell you what the love for him is.
Yeah.
Second fold. There's two parts to it. The first part is that Arsene Wenger recommended him. And that he played for Arsenal, I think. And there's still people at the football club who see Arsene as God, still. And the second part is most importantly, Mikel as well, is that they say that, we're going to take our time. And I think what's happening right now is that, the buzzwords are, like I said, trust the process or youth project. And I think that's great sellers for a lot of local fans. Yeah. So they're buying into it. And I think what's happened is that, the situation. If you want to get your message out, get your message out first. Get your message out. Make sure you're the first person to do it. So I think people who are behind Mikel, they kind of stole the narrative of people like yourself, me, Lee. They got their kind of first. So they'll use the buzzwords, trust the process, and any defensive voices up until now, they were able to brush aside. But unfortunately, people like yourself, people like Lee, Jez, even Sophie and Hybrid Squad, our voices are louder, and there is a niche in terms of
I'm exactly the same. Yeah, I've never wanted him. Watching Arsenal sometimes, it hurts because I've supported them well. I don't know if you know this. Yeah. That's
of course I know this. I know this. I know that. I know that back to front, mate. And I hear what you're saying.
It's painful, man. It's so painful.
But again, what happens is that, things like that, your pain evolves. If you drop your standards, then what will happen is that you'll get what you're getting. Chelsea do not drop their standards. Yeah. There's a mentality at Chelsea where you have to win.
Man.
And Arsenal fans.
They're
Arsenal fans,
everything that we used to be like, isn't it?
Yeah, but the same. The buzzwords would be, "I'll go and support Chelsea." No, I'm not going to support Chelsea. You go and you leave our fan base alone and go and support any club that Arteta tends to manage, and we can carry the Arsenal. We should be able to ask questions and question where we finished. If we haven't, won the league since 2004, then we have a right as fans to question that and question the standards. If we haven't won a Champions League, despite the fact that we were in it in the group stage for a long time, then we have a right to question that. And if we're finishing 8th in the last 2 seasons, then equally we have a right to question that. And I don't see any reason why we should be cowed by certain people who want to hold the narrative. I know, maybe they're ambitious, maybe they have aspirations to work in TV. I don't know, but it's not. You shouldn't ever, ever, ever try and discount anyone's views and try and suppress them because it doesn't suit your narrative. You know what I mean?
I think I agree, and a lot of people they've gone so far the Arteta way that if they've still got such big accounts that they can't whenever he does get sacked or whenever things go back downhill again, then they haven't got a leg to stand on.
Well, that's the problem is that a lot of those guys after the defeat against Man City when we're at bottom of the table, they were coming to the conclusion that a change was needed. Then we beat Norwich, we beat Burnley, we beat Tottenham, and I think they were able to flip and flop to their original opinions. And then because we've been on a run, they're able to do that. I'm enjoying the fact that we haven't lost a lot of games, but I still feel there's areas that need to improve. And I'm going to say that because if you look at those podcasts who've stolen the narrative of Arteta, they're saying the same things. They're concerned about Aubameyang. They're concerned about the midfield. They're concerned about our goals for column. They're saying the same things that myself, you, Lee, Jez, that we're all saying on the podcast. Only the fact that it's exceptional for them to say it is because they're labelled as non-toxic and positive fans. So I think Scooby Doo would find it very. Will find that very well. I think that there's more people who are more confused than Scooby Doo. I think they would have given that impression because the contradictions by them is harrowing. They can contradict themselves just like that. And the thing is that they go on camera to say that. I mean, who wants to be that person who goes on the camera to contradict themselves on a regular basis?
Talking about me personally, the only reason I started doing this is because I was so fed up and I want to give my opinion, give my view, and just like I'm just doing this for a hobby, a bit of fun, and and I want what's best for Arsenal. I don't support Arteta. I don't support the players. I support Arsenal Football Club, and that's how it should be.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's a different narrative, isn't it?
Yeah.
People who are put behind Arteta will use isms or like buzzwords like a supporter is someone who supports no matter what, and I put that in their Twitter handles. When we're so angry here, how about changing that and being more accurate? A supporter is someone who has their own individual supporter experience and should feel free to express their opinion and aspirations for the football club. And it doesn't have to be the same as everyone else. That's what they should be putting on their Twitter handles, but they won't because it knows they get more views or more followers on Twitter and get more followers on Instagram. It's who knows, they might even get some sponsorship as well because they've got the wholesome look for their channels. But let's face it,
it's sad, isn't it? It's sad.
Well, there's one particular. I think that everyone is trying to rush. How do I say it? Are in a rush to steal that narrative and get that kind of sponsorship. Because if you look at all the podcasts that have some sort of sponsorship, invariably they are podcasts who are very positive or try to be positive towards the manager, and and so keep that sponsorship coming along. To the extent that one particular channel has gone from A to B, but it's understandable if that channel is seen as toxic.
Yeah, I wonder who that is. We won't mention names.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
it is invariably. Maybe they feel they have to do that, but I think what's happened that it's very easy to be able to go with a crowd. It's very, it's for an easy life, but you've got to remember, put your head about the parapet. Talk about the club you love. Doesn't matter whether one person's watching you or 1 million people watching you. It's your supporters' experience. You have a right to feel when we beat Man United tomorrow. See, when we beat Man United tomorrow.
What's your score prediction for tomorrow?
Oh, you know what? That was a tongue in cheek, but you know what I'm trying to say is that if we beat Man United tomorrow, you could do what you want. You could either, kick the cat accidentally, go around the house,
I've got
doing
two.
knee slides, doing knee slides. Wake up
Yeah.
members of your family.
Yeah.
Or if we lose, you're equally entitled to chuck a mental. You're entitled to do that. So
Yeah.
it's a supports experience. But in terms of the game tomorrow, traditionally we apart from last season where we got a very very fortuitous penalty. I mean, it was like a Willie Young moment by Pogba on Bellerin. I think it's going to be a draw because I think it's the results that are more likely in this fixture is either normally it's a draw or Man United win, although last year was different because we won with a penalty from Aubameyang in the 63rd minute. But traditionally, it's normally the two results.
Painful. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think Arsenal fans are tending to get very frustrated when we don't beat Man United at Old Trafford because they've seen Man United's decline, and there's until probably like last few years since Sir Alex retired, we've kind of somehow finished above them because we managed to maintain our top four position. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that since 2017, but a period between 2014 and 2016, we managed to maintain our position as the top four. And then obviously in 2019, they finished sixth, we finished fifth. But since then, they comfortably finished a long way above us. But, as I said before, when you've got firepower with Cristiano Ronaldo, got firepower with Cavani and Greenwood, Martial, and
it's all over the pitch.
Yeah, there's loads of firepower in that side. And, if it comes together, then, any team in the country will find it difficult to play against Manchester United. And they're actually better away from home because of that pace that they tend to utilise really well.
So I'm going. I don't know. What I'm thinking. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Arsenal. I don't know.
Well, good. In the scene that you got for 2-1, I don't have to follow you. I'll let you have that. But I think probably we've had a 1-1. We've had a 2-2. Yeah. I'm going to go for like 2-2
draw.
But I think if Man United start quickly, then we're going to have to defend. And our goalkeeper, our good man, Mr. Ramsdale, is going to be very, 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 very busy. So if Saka isn't fit, I suggest that we resist the temptation to play him and play a fit man because we'll be running a lot because they'll be pressing, they'll be in our faces. Fred, who to believe it or not, people slag off Fred and McTominay, but Fred's actually a good player. He's got quick feet. McTominay, he's very inconsistent. So in terms of that midfield, Albert and Partey are going to have their work cut out if the forwards support the midfielders and when Man United don't have the ball. Yeah.
So you're going 2-2. I'm going. I don't know why I'm going Arsenal 2-1. Something tells me. But then there's a big worry, Kenny. If that happens, the Arteta lovers are just going to be relentless. That's the problem.
Well, I think as Arsenal fans, we want to win every game.
Yeah, of course.
And like I said, he's as far as we're concerned, Mikel was the man in possession. But in terms of like any Arsenal fan who feels that Mikel's going to get a challenge in the league, which is the Utopia, they're mistaken. Mikel wasn't going to do that. Mikel just doesn't have the minerals or the right kind of player.
Yeah, he's not
and another thing as well, and most importantly as well, if we want to sort of improve ourselves off the pitch in terms of like. At kind of director of football level, like Sarri level as well, we need to be getting this kind of personnel that Chelsea have behind the scenes and a personnel that Man City have as well in order to challenge. Because what will happen is that when you have that kind of personnel behind the scenes, you are going to be able to attract the big names because they're working with people who can help them be successful. And that's the thing. Tuchel has got the best people in, and it goes for like, Guardiola as well. Until Arsenal is strong off the pitch in terms of those positions that I've identified, then we won't be strong on the pitch. It won't happen.
Yeah, and for me, I totally agree because it stems from Edu, Arteta, the Cronkies. Well, Josh said that we're going to win the Premier League. Well, in that case, why is Arteta the manager?
Well, he wants to do it and evolve it, but what if Josh wants that? Then he needs to be looking at the performance and demanding more of Finoy, demanding more of Edu, and getting the right people behind the scenes. Because the end of the day, you look at Christian Perslow. It's Chris. See if can you imagine what attracted Steven Gerrard to Aston Villa? Christian Perslow, because he's a football man. He's worked at Liverpool and he's worked at Chelsea. So Steven Gerrard knows that he's got to work with football people. I mean, how Man United attract top bosses when they got Ed Woodward involved is quite extraordinary. But what I would say is that it's the only way to compete. Only way. There's no other way. People talk about Newcastle having bundles of cash, which they do have, but if they don't have the right people behind the scenes, then it's going to be a waste of money, because what will happen is that they won't get the right players, and what will happen is that they'll get players who would just about keep them in the Premiership, but not challenge. Maybe, and I think that's what you need to give Eddie Howe. Is if he does keep them up, when he's got to start winning games, rip it up, keep unexerted players, and rip it up.
Talking about Newcastle, they're going to be busy in January. I mean, they're just going to be raiding everyone.
They need to. They need to be busy. They need to be busy.
I mean, will they stay up? That's the thing. Will they stay up?
They need to start winning matches. Well, Callum Wilson needs to start scoring regularly, and and so should some Massima. He should be scoring regularly as well, because they're going to be the winners. And I think what's happening as well.
Do you know he reminds me of some reason Theo Walcott?
Who's that?
This Maximum. He's got the pace and everything, and he can. And then he, I don't know. It's just his end product. It's just, I don't know. I think, and I think with Theo as well. I think Theo overachieved when it was at Arsenal. I think with Theo, is that a lot of people say that Theo had a successful career. For him, yes, because someone with his who's not what I call technically great, who has to work at his technique to play at Arsenal, score 100 goals is fantastic. But is he top class? Not a chance, is he? No. We've that's been proved since he's left Arsenal. That his actual level is Southampton and Everton. It was never Arsenal, but Theo, is overachieved. The fact that he got selected for the World Cup in 2006 was abomination. That was madness. I've always wanted to ask you this: your favourite Arsenal player, Kenny? Please tell me.
Well, favourite Arsenal player of all time.
Yeah.
Well, if that's a good question, well, I'm going to answer it this way: the player who I think is the best player to ever wear the Arsenal shirt is Thierry Henry. And can you imagine it? He's 5 years older, 5 years younger than me, and I've been watching Arsenal a long time before Thierry Henry was even thought of. Yeah, I've named him, and I just think about those times at Highbury when when he first came to football club, he couldn't hit a barn door. He was awful, and then that game against Derby when we won 2-1.
Was it 99 he came?
99, we played them up front. He finally agreed to play up front.
Southampton he scored, didn't it? Was it his first goal after 14 games?
He scored against he scored in the Champions League against Solna in the chat at Wembley. But in terms of his career taking off, it was Derby at home where his career taking off. So obviously the case with Dennis Bergkamp, I shake their hands, because I don't blame people saying Dennis Bergkamp, but apart from that, it was Thierry Henry, and obviously Liam Brady. I saw a little bit of Liam Brady before he went to Juventus.
No, I didn't. I've only heard.
No, he's a fact. He was unbelievable. So I think if you look at the top three players, obviously people put Tony Adams there in terms of leadership. But one thing about Tony Adams is that the good thing about Tony Adams is he's their leader. But you think about players who we discount. We don't talk about David O'Leary enough. David O'Leary is an Arsenal legend.
Mr. Arsenal.
Because Tony Adams, because he's at Tony Adams, we don't really talk about him too much, and then we use the excuse that he was provocative when he was Leeds manager.
We could do with a David O'Leary instead of an Edu or something like that. You know what I mean?
He was asked to be on the board, but I think that there are certain people who weren't keen to have him on the board. But again, David O'Leary,
madness.
Yeah, but again, I think David O'Leary, maybe you want a younger man with younger ideas. Maybe David O'Leary can be a kind of figurehead. But it's a shame that sometimes the answers are there, and the club are just too stubborn to kind of find them.
Yeah,
we'll look for them, the answers.
And so Thierry, worst Arsenal player you've ever seen.
You know what? I feel because it's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see some shocking players. And and the fact that you know people talk about Yegor Stefanovs,
but Andre Santos.
Andre Santos, you know, he scored against Chelsea. He scored against Chelsea. Yes, you give him that. But you know, there's been for every good player, for every there have been shockers, and you say to yourself, you know, how do they get to play for Arsenal? But you're always going to get
Lord Bentner.
Well, yeah, Bentner was effective, but I think with Bentner, because we had a good team, we played attacking football. Bentner was always going to score the odd goal here and there. But Eddie Boyer was better footballer than him. And that's why he played Eddie Boyer instead of him. And, Bentner just wasn't, the right man for the club.
Talking about right man for the club, if you could, who would you have in charge if you could change?
Ten Hag, like Ten Hag of Ajax. Because I think what's happening, right, is that everyone talks about youth projects and trust the process. Well, if you're gonna use those kind of euphemisms, then how about getting a person who actually fits that mantra?
Yeah.
I.e. Ten Hag, you want to build something. Well, surely he's the man to do that.
We keep missing out, Kenny. We keep missing out on all the top managers. Well, how many can we miss?
We've been missing out on top managers for 12 years since Arsene Wenger went into decline. So
and Arsene Wenger might be coming back. Please, no. Please.
Well, yeah, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. No. I think people at the football club, they're doing the right thing by not having him around the club. And I think it's a club decision to say, mate, we'll do this and this. You're more than welcome to visit, but we don't want you involved in the club, and rightly so. Move on from Arsene.
So you wouldn't have him back either?
No, not at all. Not at all. He's had his go. What's the point of having him back? What's he going to do? Let's face it.
He's made his millions.
Most importantly, as well, he is the person who actually caused the decline in the first place. So what's the point? How are you going to fix something you started?
Yeah, he's set us back so many years, and Arteta's just making it worse and worse. And Kenny, I'm worried for the future of Arsenal. I don't know about you.
I think what you got to do, you got to take it one game at a time. Starting tomorrow,
and
then after that is Everton. We're in a situation where we've got some difficult games. We've got Man United, Everton, West Ham. At the moment they've lost a couple of games, but you don't know what West Ham are going to turn up. So it's going to be difficult. That's going to be a difficult game, and most importantly, you got Leeds as well. So it's one of the things where you got what they say. It's one of those sort of dreaded matches in the north that that Arsenal need to come through. It's toughness. And we have to wait and see if Arsenal are going to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I'm talking about Everton. You're going to be watching a Merseyside derby.
I intend to. Yes.
Yes, and I know all the football's kicking off and everyone wants to watch it. Maybe you could just tell everyone where they can find you. Obviously, I put it there.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KennyKen1972.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my date of birth, my year I was born. So yeah. I'm an old man. And old man.
Wow, I'm catching you up, mate. So I'm fortunate. Kenny, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And
thanks for having me on.
And guys, yes, like I said, subscribe if you're new, smash the like up, and thank you all. I'm sorry I haven't gone into your comments, but I've just wanted to take the time to talk to Kenny, and I really appreciate it. I will be watching you and get you on the podcast as well with Lee.
Oh, thank you very much.
I need to get Lee on as well.
Definitely. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah,
mate.
I love the podcast. I love
good mate.
Yeah, so enjoy the derby, and
I don't know,
Kenny. Thank you so much.
I'd rather Liverpool Everton than Arsenal because I think that'd be stressful. But it's not as long as it's not Arsenal stress.
Yeah, and and hopefully, okay then. Have a nice evening, Kenny. Okay, and thanks everyone. Okay, bye for now. Bye.
See you later, Alex.
Okay. Bye. Cheers. Bye.